Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat, our TNA show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner Sean Hernandez.
At least I'm not Chavo. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
And first thing we want to say, a belated happy Thanksgiving to everybody. That's why our show is a little bit late this week. Hope you guys all had a great Thanksgiving dinner.
I wanted to throw something out there we didn't even talk about before the show. Today is the day after Larry Hagman died. He played JR on the original Dallas show and was on parts of the new one. And JBL mentioned a lot about him on his website today because that was who he based his character of JBL off of.
Oh, that's pretty obvious if you ever watched the.
Yeah, well, a lot of younger people never watched it. I mean, that's where the character came from, and just
a tremendous actor.
Yes, and it just
also Hector Macho Camacho.
Yeah, a very sad situation. Yes,
but on to the good stuff, Debbie Downer.
Oh, well, we got to start off with some down stuff and work our way back up.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about the first match, you son of a bitch?
Pile of monkey nuts. All right, first match was Garrett Bischoff versus Briscoe.
Wes Briscoe.
Wes Briscoe. I always mess up on his name. Surprisingly good match coming from Bischoff. I mean, Wes has done a lot of work here and there, and I've seen some of his matches, and he's always performed very well.
He was really good in FCW, in my opinion. I don't know why he was never called up to the WWE roster there, but their loss is TNA's gain. Definitely doesn't wrestle like his father's. It's okay, or his father and uncle. I said fathers.
I'm gonna say my two dads.
But I mean, it's okay to be different. I liked it. He has a good look to him. He has a decent build. This is our first really, other than last week, this is our first real chance to see him in a competitive match with someone. Or actually, this is our first match.
Yeah, it's the first match.
Other than just run-ins. And he put up a good showing. I liked it. I think he carried Bischoff, which is one of the worst wrestlers on the TNA roster, to a decent match.
Well, you think Bischoff did pretty good, though, don't you? I mean, for what he usually
does.
But
what they said, and I don't know if they were just saying it on the announce team because, who knows what's truth and not. They were talking about these kids grew up together. Wes Briscoe's from Tampa. Garrett Bischoff's billed from Clearwater. I don't know if Eric lives in Clearwater. I always thought he lived in Minnesota.
Well, I think a lot of the rest. Eric lived in Tampa too, because him and DDP were neighbors and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But and then coming off of that, speaking of Chavo, we had our match Joey Ryan versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. It was an okay match, running your mill Joey Ryan and Chavo match. Nothing special happened, nothing great.
It didn't look as bad as Chavo's been mailing in a lot. I don't think he mailed it in as bad this time as he has been in the past. Do you?
No, not as bad as he has. Not as bad as Gary Rhodes mails in on these shows, but...
Oh, shoot, cowboy.
Got that one in there.
Yeah, you did. Well, look what I'm working with. You gotta have something good to work with. Anyways, talk about the next match was Sam Shaw versus Alex Silva. And talk about mailing it in. He didn't on this one. I remember when he did his debut, his gut check debut, he really kind of... Sam Shaw was the one that really kind of mailed it in.
Yeah, Sam Shaw was the one, he's the one, if you remember, he had kind of a surfer gimmick with the swim trunks on, and we didn't like him during his gut check, and this was a much better match than his gut check. Alex Silva we did like during his gut check. I'm glad he's back on the air. He showed a lot of personality in this match, and I think, honestly, other than the next match that came up, this was the second best match of the night, in my opinion.
Why don't you let me know what the next match was?
The next match, Christian York. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention this was open fight night. So
yes.
all these matches are people calling out other people.
And most of it is the gut check winners.
Yes, Christian York called out Jeff Hardy, which was decent. It was a great idea. I'm pretty sure these guys have worked with each other a lot.
Probably over the years.
They put on about a 10, 12 minute match.
11 minutes.
It was about 11. And it was really well worked. Christian York's a guy I'm a real big fan of. I'm glad he's got some opportunity to be on national TV. It's something he hasn't had since the ECW days.
Well, he's very impressive. I don't think the size that he's put on hurt him any.
No.
He's a little bit slower than what he was when he was smaller, but he makes up for it because it's more impressive to see a guy his size do some of the stuff he does. I honestly think
here's
the
the question.
it factor is more in it.
Is it the size or the fact that he's 10 years older than the last time you seen him?
Well, I think a lot of it's the size. I honestly
think so?
think so. I mean, look how skinny he was compared to what he is now. You try to move around 20 pounds, 30 pounds of pure muscle, it's a lot harder. And like I said, he's still very impressive for a guy his size. I mean, most guys his size can't move that fast.
Speaking of someone skinny, our next match was Taylor Hendricks, who is anorexic looking, versus Tara. Not that it's a bad thing. She's a very pretty girl.
It's always nice when they don't like food. It's cheaper on a date. There you go.
There you go, Tara.
Anyways, it wasn't a total loss of a match. It was actually pretty good for the knockouts match they've been throwing out.
You know, Taylor Hendricks, in my opinion, she's just someone that needs a little bit more seasoning. I don't think she's ready to be on the roster at this point. No, I don't think she's terrible. Like I said, she's got a good look. I think she's an attractive girl.
But they need more knockouts. You know, I think maybe this was kind of like, oh, you know what? Well, other than, was it last week, we had all the knockouts on there. Before that, it was a couple months. It was just Tara and ODB or the
Madison Rain.
Not Madison Rain. The former champion Tessmacher.
Tessmacher.
It was just them three.
Yeah, but it's still Tara's still on there. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't a great match. Wasn't a bad match. The next match had
EY. I'm sorry. I always like EY.
It had potential to be a good match, but they played it more for comedy value. The thing that was on the line, if you watch TNA during their Thanksgiving, they always have a turkey suit match where the loser wears a turkey suit. Last year, Big Robbie T wore it. This year, it was a three-way, Eric Young versus Robbie E versus Jesse.
And Jesse ended up being the turkey.
And he's a turkey.
Honestly, you know what? And it kind of sucks for him, though. I would have put it on Robbie E. Robbie's been there a little bit longer. I wouldn't have put it on EY. EY's too over. I would have, put it on Robbie E. Because it really wouldn't have hurt Robbie E. He's more of a funnier gimmick. I think Jesse just needs to get away from Tara. Because honestly, was it last week or week before the match he had against EY, he did very good. I was very impressed, and we've been very crucial on Jesse. And he wasn't bad during this match. I mean, the comedy spots, you're going to expect those. It's a comedy match.
Yeah, and he's not terrible. I don't think it's going to hurt him as bad as you're thinking he is, because he does have the celebrity gimmick, so it kind of plays into the celebrity gimmick a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're probably trying to get that picture sold on TMZ or something like that.
Yeah, and then the other, or at least get it played up, that here's Jesse from
Little Brother?
There you go.
Then
after the match, we forgot earlier in the night, Aces and Eights did their dart throwing routine, and
tonight's victim was Eric Young.
Which I think, I've been reading that his contract is coming up, either has come up already or is coming up shortly. And I think this was their way to take him off of TV, because either he's not coming back for a while to do the fishing show, or he's just not coming back, period.
Well, speaking of taping and taping shows and other shows.
And fishing for a
way to get to this question. Our question of the week last week was, how do you like the taped environment compared to the live environment they've had previously?
And we have an answer from one of our friends, Paul from over at the Deadly Sins. He put not a big fan of tape shows. It's like you said, loses a lot of spontaneity. Gary, I love your jacket. That's from last week. You wore the Flyers jacket. Paul's a big Flyers fan, as well as I am. But I totally agree with everything he said. Like we mentioned last week, people like us, people that are marks, we are assuming, and we're not using this as a derogatory claim, we assume you guys are marks as well. If you're watching this show, you care more about wrestling than just a casual fan, because God knows why would you search out a wrestling talk show on YouTube unless you really liked wrestling.
Or looking at my face.
No one likes that. But anyway. But the point is that marks like us go to our different websites, to your Lords of Pain, your WrestleZones, One Wrestling, WrestlePlanet, and you find out anything on a tape show, you find out a week before it happens or whenever they tape it, and you know the results going in, which kills the spontaneity. It also, in my opinion, you lose the spontaneity and the surprise factor, because if I don't know somebody's debuting, even if I know they're debuting, I don't know when they're going to debut.
Exactly. And the thing is, I think it hurts the momentum they were building
Yes.
going with all these live shows. I'm hoping it's just throughout the holidays, then they go back to live after New Year's, or even beforehand. You know, they don't know. I haven't heard if it's a deadlock through the end of the year. Have you heard?
No, I haven't at all.
I'm just hoping it's just for the holidays.
Yeah.
If it's just for the holidays, I don't mind it. If it's just for Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Just to make sure that the boys are home to get to spend the holidays with their families, I'm okay with that too.
I mean, it's part of life. People want to spend time with their families. I just hope it doesn't affect the show, because the show's been getting really good. And a matter of fact, it was really hard to watch this show because I already read the results.
Yep.
You know, the only reason I watched it is for the show.
Exactly. And actually, on this show, it actually was a benefit. If this would have been a live show, I think they would have got more viewers, because reading the results, these matches aren't impressive if you just read the results, because you're like, who's this guy? Okay, it's another gut check guy. These guys sucked the first time we watched them. But when you watch the show, it's a lot better show than it comes off on
the internet.
On, just reading the results. And I think they lost some viewers doing that, in my opinion. I don't know what the ratings count is or how much they lost or gained. But they had to have had some people not tune in because of that.
Well, the question for this week is going to be, gut check. What's your opinion of it?
Do you like the concept? Do you not like the concept? Do you think they should be using...
Live without it, live with it.
Do you think they should be using more established guys like they did with Christian York? Would you rather them use younger guys like Sam Shaw, Alex Silva, or Taylor Hendricks, who's not a guy, but Christian York or Joey Ryan, the guys that have been in the business a while and are ready to be on the roster? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Twitter, on our Facebook. Put it down where?
Down there.
It's a turkey leg one, GR.
Boom.
Put it down in our comments, and we'll talk about it next week. We'll give you our opinion, what we think of gut check overall. And coming out of that, our next call out was Kaz calling out AJ. Now, they've already set up AJ versus AJ Styles, not AJ Lee.
Yeah, of course.
Which would have been funny if he just called out AJ and he came out and he said, no, wrong AJ.
And, some of the things they miss on. And Vince couldn't have sued him for it.
But Kaz... They've already set up AJ Styles versus Daniels at the pay-per-view. Makes perfect sense for his tag team partner Kaz to call him out.
Exactly. It was a decent match. It didn't really last that long, but compared to some of the other matches they had on there,
I was way more impressed with the Christian York Jeff Hardy match, and this match, again, that's another thing. Reading the results before the show, I expected this to be the best match of the night when Christian York versus Jeff Hardy was. And again, like you said, if I wasn't watching the show to give you guys a review, I might have fast forwarded through the Christian York Jeff Hardy match. Yeah. And I think that's what they're losing with losing with the tape. Kaz and AJ, it was their normal match. They've had the same match hundreds of times. It's nothing
the thing is with them is the matches just stay about the same, but the promos that Kaz and Daniels cut get better.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Daniels, at least, Kaz is a great wrestler.
Oh, yeah, he's a good hand.
And AJ is as well. AJ Styles is as well. The thing with Daniels is he could wrestle the same guy 50 times in a row, and he'll give you 50 different matches. Mm-hmm. I think out of the three, Daniels is by far the best ring technician.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way he was brought up in a business.
Yeah. He
would have to wrestle probably the same towns 3 times a week. Yep. So you have to wrestle a different style match for every guy, and he's one of the kind of almost, you'd say, a territory guy.
Almost an old school guy.
Exactly, and that's something that the business misses nowadays. And I like the fact that a guy like Daniels is there in the business helping these younger guys. I mean, not AJ. AJ's established, but could you imagine how good like Wes Briscoe or Alex Silva or even Sammy Shaw would be with the help of somebody like Daniels?
I mean, if they put Alex Silva with him, he's already got that cocky heel gimmick, and he just pairs with him. Even if they just ride with each other, that kid's going to blow up and go through the roof.
I see Daniels' career. I mean, it's not on the show, but we had some, there wasn't a lot to talk about with the show. I see Daniels is probably going to be like another Steven Regal, William Regal. Yeah. He might not get the world title, should have gotten it, but
I think if he would have got it, he should have got it back remember, I forget what year, I think it was '05 or '06 when they did the three-way feud with AJ Styles, Daniels, and Samoa Joe. And it was like basically a year-long feud. He should have got it in there because I think Daniels was at his absolute best at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the shame of it is he never even got the Ring of Honor title when he wrestled there, and he really should have. In their early days, there was nobody better in Ring of Honor, Bryan Danielson and CM Punk included, than Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. In that point in their career, they were early on in their career. They've since passed him.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, they're probably, I mean, they're 1 and 2 in the business today.
yeah.
And I don't think Daniels would be that far off.
No, he's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah.
If not top 4, 3. I mean, you'd be hard pressed. The guy in the next segment I would have to put up in there as well, and then I would have to add Kevin Steen because Kevin Steen's just awesome.
Well, AJ, because we're talking about the AJ match, AJ just never could play a very good convincing heel. He always needed a manager and stuff like that.
Here's my opinion on AJ Styles. He's kind of, in my opinion, he's Jeff Hardy. It's the same thing to me. These guys, for all the revolutionary stuff they do, people say a lot about guys like Ultimate Warrior and John Cena having 5 moves of doom, 6 hit combo of queer, whatever you want to call it. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy do the same damn thing every single match.
So is Rob Van Dam anymore.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that because I liked Van Dam back in the day, but I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You take a guy like Kurt Angle. Kurt really doesn't use. I mean, he'll have his signature moves, but he doesn't throw the same match every time.
No.
That's one thing about Kurt. I think that was the way he was trained.
He's a wrestling machine.
Well, no joking. Yeah.
I forget who said it, but somebody called him as close to being a cyborg as
Hogan called him a cyborg.
Yeah, well, Hogan probably stole it. Someone else said it before that.
Well, the guy's a monster.
Yeah.
If he really wanted to go off on anybody in the back room in any federation, he'd probably take to it.
And speaking of Hogan, our next segment of the night was Austin Aries, another guy in the conversation for one of the best wrestlers in the world. He called out Brooke Hogan and basically was running her down, talking about how the Hogan name is bad, and then said you could have been Brooke Bischoff,
Brooke McMahon,
Brooke McMahon, or even Brooke Bully Ray.
But no, you're settling for Brooke Miss Bully Ray or something like that.
Yeah, but you're settling for Miss Bully Ray. Ran her down, brought out Bully Ray, who chased him out of the ring. Hogan came down, which reminds me, on our Hogan count, 2 Hulk Hogans. Thunderlips was not on the show that much this week.
Well, I don't know. I think if they did the live shows and kept him off as much as possible, like 2 times would be perfect for Hogan. But back to the segment. How would you say Aries' promo was? What would you rate it as?
Oh, he was great. It wasn't as good as the Dolph Ziggler one on John Cena earlier in the week, but he was great. He was spot on. Austin Aries is one of them guys. He's in the short list of guys that are really at the top of their game right now.
Well, speaking of Ziggler, would you put him in Ziggler's category?
I think he's above Ziggler.
If he had Ziggler's height, would you think he would be with Vince right now?
Oh, he probably would. And Aries, he's a guy I've liked a long time. I really think he's one of the best, if not the best, that they got in TNA.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give your boy props, Bully Ray. Bully Ray is so much head and toe above almost everybody else in the business. I would have kept him heel, but I guess he was getting over so well. But
I really want to see where this Bully Ray Brooke Hogan thing is going. It's way more interesting than the John Cena, AJ Lee thing, the AJ Styles, Claire Lynch thing. This feels a little bit more organic.
Exactly. Plus, it's not like forced on you. They're not like, AJ, it's my kid. They're not throwing a whole bunch.
And they're building it slowly.
Exactly. Building it slowly was a lot better.
Overall, it was a much better show than I thought it would be. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
But basically, that's all I got to say. Anything you need to add about this, GR?
No, I think everything's pretty good.
That's all we have to say. My name is George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this has been our Heel Heat TNA show.